GSL. GSL Season 3.
What's up, guys? It's Taste and Artosis, and this is day 1 of the round of 16 in the final season of the GSL Codex.
That's right, and it is the most deadly round of 16 by miles. Everyone agrees on this. It's insanity. It's well-balanced. It's almost every one of the top 16 players in the world.
It's a huge contrast from some of the previous GSLs we've had, which have been very focused on just one race, most recently Protoss, but we've had other GSLs where it's very Terran heavy or Zerg heavy, so this is really cool. We're now over 4 years of StarCraft II here at the GSL, and this is a round of 16 that's got a very balanced race distribution.
That's right. It's really good to see after we had so many seasons that were super Protoss heavy or very Terran light, things like that. You know, the beginning, the round of 32 was actually like a lot of Protoss, but the chaff has been cut, and we're left with the cream of the crop.
The fat has been cut out of the equation here. Not as many Protosses this time around, which is really exciting. We have had Final Fours where it's all one race, stuff like that. Probably not going to be the case this time around.
Yeah, I don't think so.
In today's group, we have some fantastic players here. 2 Terrans. We were talking about this just before we went on air, but the Terran SCV pool, very strong these days.
Yeah, Zest could be in some trouble. He's not known for having the best PVT. His PVT obviously very, very good, very high end.
Nothing compared to his PvP, for instance, where he's the best in the world.
He's fantastic PvP and PvZ, but will he be able to get through these 2 Terrans? We'll have to see. Yeah,
it's going to be a pretty big challenge for him here, although I would still assume he'd be one of the players getting out here now.
Yeah.
So here is the schedule now. As you can see today, Zest, Sulky, Reality Cure. Now, we are actually not having any broadcasts tomorrow due to scheduling conflicts. So the next week, we're going to have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Artosis and I will be here with you for each of those 3 days as we finish up the round of 16.
That's right. It's just fantastic. If you take a look at those groups, look at the group we're doing today. It's insane, right? That's the weakest group out of those 4 groups. I want that to sink in for you.
Pretty crazy
a group with
concept.
Zest and Sulky in it is the weakest.
I'm most pumped actually about Group D here. Sue, DRG, True, and Flash.
That's your number 1, really?
Yeah, for me it is.
Dude,
yeah.
I look at Group B. Oh, what the hell is that?
All these groups so scary here.
And Group C?
Group
oh,
C.
my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
And what about Group A? Oh, my God.
Group A is just
Boy, hold on a second. Group D? What? Oh, my God.
It's craziness.
All these groups.
Well, it's going to be a fantastic round of 16. I can't wait. This is like, oh, man. We've never had anything quite like this.
You know, it's been a little while. A lot of the players were saying they thought that Group D was actually the easiest group.
Well, they're rude.
They are out of line. I don't know. I really look at Group D, and maybe what excites me most is that players like True, who are so good, Flash playing really well, as we just saw in that final round. But before we talk about that, let's go ahead and take a look at the video and see how the round of 16 unfolded.
생태를 피하는 식으로 하고 싶어가지고 빨간색 유니폼이 일단 눈에 많이 들어오고요. 인터뷰 실력만 늘고 게임 실력이 좀 줄은 것 같아요. 성공 맞을게요. 네. 덤비세요. 스타하게 탱크는 안 해요. 정 선수의 판단을 맡겼어요. 남은 선수들이 너무 마음에 안 들어요. 어쩔 수 없이 뽑는 것 같아요. 이제. 스페란토는 제가 하기 싫어서 말 잘 들을 테니까 좀 뽑아주셨으면 좋겠어요. 스테란 분들 좋아해야 될 것 같거든요. 아니면 적극적으로 못했던 게 너무 아쉽고 제일 무난하게 할 것 같아요. 안돼. 선택은 실패했어요. 네.
야 이거
팀원을 받았어요.
등을 보자.
진이 형이 갑자기 저를 공격하셔서 제가 동생이니까 양보해야죠.
Zest, Sulky, Reality, Cure. GSL Season 3.
And now we're going to be going on to the interview here with our 4 players to see how they're feeling before we start our first best of 3.
최강의 16강입니다. 여기에 이 지난주 조지명식에서 선수분들이 화려한 입담을 뽐내주셨기 때문에
All these players said this is the toughest round of 16 in GSL history.
차례로 시작이 됩니다. 그 시작을 여는 A조 선수분들 오늘 가볍게 이야기 나눠보겠습니다. 자, 가장 먼저 두성 선수. 자, 첫 지명은 의지대로 뽑았는데 그 나머지 2자리에 테란이 다 들어왔네요. 이번 조지명 결과적으로 봤을 때 성공적으로 보세요.
You were seated to pick your opponents. You could have picked whoever you wanted.
솔직히 어느 조
Overall, how do you feel about your group?
쉽지 않을 거라 생각했는데 좀 D조가 좀
You know, I actually think this is a pretty tough group. It's not easy.
나름대로
But still, I think Group D is easier than this group.
그럼 테란전 준비 어떻게 하셨나요? 오늘 승자전을 가진 패자전을 가진 테란을 만나잖아요.
제가 시즌 1, 2 때 비해 테란전이 좀 많이 올라와가지고
I think I've been improving my Terran, my verse Terran play a lot.
사실 지난 시즌까지는 테란전이 참 싫다고 말씀하셨던 게 기억이 나거든요. 지금은 자신감 있으세요?
So the last season, I still remember you not really enjoying playing against Terran.
레더에서 테란들이 좀 많아져가지고.
Yeah, that's true. I used to practice mostly against Terran on the ladder.
그러면 오늘 8강에 올라갈 종족을 한번 예상을 해볼까요? 당연히 한 자리는 프로토스라고 생각을 하실 거고 다른 한 자리는
뭐가 될까요? Race do you think will be advancing to the round of 8?
이번 시즌이 좀 테란이 좀 강세인 것 같아서.
Terran's looking pretty strong nowadays.
아, 저그는 없네요. 그러면 오늘 저그로 나서는 2003대 김민철 선수 만나보겠습니다. 자, 상대 전적에서 불리한 주성 선수를 만나게 됐습니다. 사실 저라면 어떻게든 자신 있는 조성주 선수 조에 들어가려고 했을 텐데 딱히 피하거나 팀킬 맞불 작전을 쓰지 않았어요. 좀 들어볼
But you said you didn't really want to. You didn't want to play offense
테란이 진짜 좀 좋아져가지고 성주랑 해도
Yeah, the season Terran seems really strong.
그나마 토스가 좀 더 할 만한 것 같아서.
So I didn't even want to play against tomorrow, even though I had a huge win record against him.
피하지 않았어요.
네, 그냥 바로 정면 승부를 선택을 하셨습니다. 그렇다면 그때 32강 전후로 프로토스전을 조금 많이 보완해야겠다 말씀을 하셨는데 시간이 좀 짧았잖아요. 어떻게 준비하셨어요?
So you said you're going to make up for this by winning your Protoss matches. How do you prepare for that?
보완된 듯한 느낌으로 왔거든요. 네. 그래서 오늘 좀 더 좋은 경기력 보여드리겠습니다.
Yeah, I think I've been prepared enough against Protoss, so I feel
어떤 상대가 좀 편할 것 같으세요?
뭐, 두 선수 다 비슷한 것 같아요. 네. 잘 모르겠어가지고 두 선수 다 그 스타일이 어떤지도 잘 몰라서.
Yeah, I don't really have much information or the playstyle of my opponents. But as long as it's Terran, I don't think it's going to be much of a difference who I'm playing against.
자, 상관없을 것 같다 말씀하셨는데, 자, 그럼 그 옆에 계신 김도욱 선수 먼저 이야기를 나눠볼게요. 김도욱 선수도 별로 이 조를 원했던 조는 아니었어요. 김유진 선수를.
So Kier, you said you didn't want to be in Group A. You said you wanted to go to Group D instead. But SOS set you up for this.
좀 유진이 형한테 좀 그랬는데 그때 강민수 선수가
Yeah, I blame SOS for my situation a little bit.
어쩔 수 없었던 것 같아요.
I can understand. I did kind of provoke SOS. He was a little bit mad.
네.
Even after he finished the group selection at the game house, he was still a little bit
자, 이 조에 오기 싫은 이유가 태태전을 하기 싫어서였습니다. 두 분이 만난 적도 없거든요. 어떻게 준비하셨나요?
Curious said you don't want to be in Group A because you hate to play TBT.
레더에서도 많이 하고 그러니까 다른 대회 예선에서도 몇 번 만났었거든요.
Through the ladder.
그래서 좀 힘들다고 생각하는데 연습 많이 해서
It's still a little bit tough.
준비 많이 해서
difficult to have TBT matches.
네, 저희가 이번에 조지명식을 앞두고 시작했던 이 앙케이트에서 이번 시즌 1낼 것 같은 선수, 다크호스가 될 것 같은 선수로 김도욱 선수가 뽑혔습니다. 본인의 생각은 어떤가요?
So we did a lot of research into the players in the round of 16, and you were picked as the dark horse. How do you feel?
대회 때 연습만큼만 하면 그래도 어느 정도 성적 낼 수 있을 것 같아요.
When I practice, I get good results, but
여기 로열로도
when I have broadcasted matches, I don't pull out my best games.
네, 당연히 저는 목표가 우승이라서 꿈꾸고 있어요.
그러면
Still my
이번에
goal
첫
is to be a
16강인
champion
김기현
in this
선수도
season.
만나보겠습니다. 자, 이번에 마지막까지 고민을
Over here
가장
now to
많이 한
reality.
선수가 아닐까 싶어요. 사실 이 끝까지 고민하다가 김유진 선수를 강민수 선수에게 보내고 태태전을 스스로 만들어 버리셨는데.
네.
So you actually wanted to pick SOS, but you weren't able to.
네.
Instead of SOS, you have Cure here. How do you feel?
제가 타종족전을 많이 하고 싶었는데 그거는 이제 분위기상도 그렇고.
Yeah, I don't really want any TVT
그게 제일
matches.
좋은 것 같아서 어쩔 수 없었던 것 같아요.
네, 강민수 선수와
But on the team selection day,
점심 저녁 그 딜을 하시기도 했는데
I was forced to pick a Cure, but that was my best choice, I
그거는
guess.
그냥 제가 농담삼아 한 얘기였는데
네.
그날 숙소 가서 제가 아무 얘기도 안 했는데 자기가 먼저
Did
사겠다고
Solar
하더라고요.
take you out for a nice meal since you picked Cure instead of SOS?
그랬군요. 자,
No,
태태전으로 시작을 합니다.
that was just joking around
오늘
about it.
어떻게 준비하셨어요?
그냥
But Solar did take me out for a nice meal.
좋은 싸움인 것 같고 사실 크게 신경은 안
Anyways, I think TVT is just a basic skill matchup. Whoever has better mechanics and game
여기도 죽음의
understanding.
조 같거든요. 자신 있으세요?
그냥 어차피 뭐
You know, so far I think
연습
Group
때 많이
A
해본
is
선수들이라서
pretty scary. What do you think? And he says,
네, 그러면
I already had a lot of
마지막으로
matches
오늘
against
김기현 선수의
each of
각오를
these guys, so
들어보면서
I think I'm going to be
인터뷰를
fine.
하겠습니다. 각오 좀 들려주시죠.
네,
Any final words
첫
before you start?
16강이니만큼 꼭 좋은 모습 보여드려서 8강도
This is my first round of 16 in CODAS.
네, 알겠습니다.
So I'm
자,
going to do
오늘
my best to
A조에
make it to the round of 8.
나서는 이 선수분들의 모든 이야기를 들어봤는데요. 오늘 가장 먼저 이 8강의 안착한 선수는 누가 될지 저는 잠시 후에 승자 인터뷰로 돌아오도록 하겠습니다. 자, 16강
Well, guys, that does
A조
it for the
경기
interview. Let's see who's going to be the
시작해보겠습니다.
first player now to make it to the round of 8. In our first group here, Group A, in the round of 16, the players are now shaking hands, and we are very close to getting this started.
All right, you can see who they already took out here on their way up. Looks like maybe Reality had. Well, Reality and Cure didn't have the hardest times, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
Just taking out
Trap
kind of
is
the
a good
lower level
player, but
Prodosses.
I mean, you compare it to somebody like Zest, man. You know,
yeah, well, Zest got
Rain,
like
Rogue, Miracle Rogue, perhaps.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
hard
he
to stop.
beat Rogue, so that's really good. And I mean, Sulky beat Stats and Byong. That's pretty legit. Oh wait, no, he lost his stats. Never mind. Anyways,
Terminator didn't play as well, but I mean, we know he was a team captain. Makes him, somebody who definitely understands the game very well, although he might not perform as well under pressure.
Certainly.
But look, I mean, all these guys are all very strong. Zest, Reality, Sulky, and Cure.
Who do you think actually comes out? This is a hard one.
Well, it's tough because Terran's doing well now, but I would say Zest no matter what.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to go with Sulky as my second pick, even though Terran Strong and Cure in Reality are good. What about you?
Now, I bet against Sulky, I think, only once ever. I always think he's going to win. Today, I actually think different. If Zest beats Sulky in this first match, I think that's like the most important thing today to decide who goes through. I think it's going to be Zest and Cure, which sounds really weird.
Zest and Cure?
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard Cure was #1 GM on the Korean ladder, and historically, whoever gets that and stays there for a bit, those have been players like Innovation in the past. Like, it's just, if you're that good, the Korean ladder is insanely hard. It's like a little bit different than it used to be because the Kespa team's in practice more, but it's still super active with all the top pros. So I'm feeling like Cure is going to really show some skills today. But it's a hard one, man. Any two players who come out of any of these groups in the round of 16.
One thing to keep in mind is that people with the ladder, though, that is a different beast than when you're actually in a live match. In fact, sometimes we have players that are the best on the ladder that do not perform.
Very true.
In live matches. So
there's like ladder bonjours and practice bonjours, and like there's people that are really good at those other things that just never deliver. That could be the case for Cure, but just if you can get up to that #1 spot and like retain it for a bit, your pure skill is so high.
Well, out of any ranking system on a massive scale, like outside of like WCS points, which is already very big, but I'm talking about a massive regional scale. The Korean ladder is the hardest out of anywhere in the entire planet. So
in any game, really, it's
in any game,
it's a great way to rank.
I mean, you got to think that says a lot about Cure. The question is, ladder play. how does that compare to best of 3? Well, it is a different beast.
Oh, certainly.
It is a very different beast. You don't have to prepare a best of 3 on a ladder. Although that would be a very interesting ladder to set up. The best of 3 or best of 5 ladder or something like that. But yeah, I mean, you look at
that'd be a
like
stream
Cure.
sniper's delight right there.
Oh, no kidding. But I mean, you look at somebody like Cure. He's been proven to be the best in the world against random high-ranked opponents.
Barcodes.
Yeah. The barcode butcher.
That's right. Well, that's what he's been doing.
Yes.
But no, look, any 2 players could actually make it out of like any of these groups, and I think we couldn't be like too surprised. There's definitely some favorites in this round.
Would you be surprised if Zest didn't get out?
I wouldn't be super surprised. I think that Sulky, Sulky still for me is one of the very best Zergs in the world. I don't know if I put him at #1 right now, but he's close enough that I don't really have someone that I say above him. So I mean, if Sulky. The thing is, the last few ZVPs I saw to Sulky, I was not nearly as impressed. I guess they were mostly against stats now I think about it. But, no, I mean, I'm just not as impressed with Sulky's ZVP right now. But the guy is amazing. He's someone who went toe-to-toe with Innovation when we thought Innovation was unbeatable. So
that is very true. I just feel like Sulky would get out, but I'm really just basing that off of the previous results.
Yeah. Well, he's never a bad guess. Like, you could say,
yeah.
oh, I think he's going to win the season. I couldn't say you're dumb or anything.
Reality TVT against Cure, I'm thinking Cure wins.
Okay. Okay.
You agree?
That's hard for me. I haven't seen these 2 TVT very much.
I just feel like with a guy that ladders like that.
Yeah, that's going to really prepare you for that mirror.
I feel like there are things you can do to cheese out your opponent in TVT, but it's not the same as the way, for instance, a Protoss can cheese out like a Zerg, for instance, with like a Cannon Rush or something like that. So I just feel like with solid play, I would think Cure would come out on top, actually, with the 2-0.
That makes sense.
But
that makes sense. When's the last time that you and I here at GSL casted a TVT? You and I together.
That's actually a very good question. And I think
it was last year.
I was going to say, I think it's been a very long time.
There's been some TVTs, but I mean, I've casted some with Wolf. You've casted some with Wolf. Wolf has casted some with other people.
I think the last TVT that we casted was overseas.
Yeah, but I'm saying here at GSL, the last TVT you and I cast together, I believe it was last year.
Wolf and I casted the last TVT together. That was at a GSL.
Wolf and Brendan did because you and I were traveling.
Oh, okay. So there was a TVT in between then.
Yeah.
The last one that I casted here at GSL, I believe, was with Wolf.
Okay, yeah, me too.
When he had the day off. So it's been a little while for TVT. This is going to be
I don't know if you and I are ready to cast
I don't know what
that
matchup. I don't know what happens in that matchup. Really, I mean, now we've had so much Protoss. We're both Protoss players. We don't dabble in TVT, so normally our exposure to TVT is by simply casting it. So this will be good for us. We'll be learning.
I think we'll probably see some Hellions. Some Banshees.
I think so.
This is my guess.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what these guys have to offer. Because there was such a heavy amount of Protosses in the GSL previously, that combined with the fact that there were almost no Terrans in GSL Code S meant the odds of a TVT occurring were very, very low. So we haven't been able to see that matchup as much.
2 Code S seasons in a row we had 0.
ZVZ, for instance, we see all the time, so easier to stay up to date on that. But let's see. I mean, let me tell you something. For people that want to learn from home, this is, for Cure here, the best Terran to steal builds from.
Pretty much.
He's #1 GM on the ladder.
Yeah, I don't know if he is right this second, but I heard he was for quite a while, so maybe he still is. I'm not sure.
Enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
I'm sure it's just some barcode. I'm like, well, I don't know. Terran's #1 right now.
That's not Cure's barcode. Wait a minute.
Take my barcode scanner. Get the barcode scanner.
Use your iPhone on it and check on it. So we were having a problem a second ago.
Yeah, I think we were replacing Zest's computer.
Yeah, we are. We're replacing his
computer. Get his hotkeys in, make sure if he has drivers that those are all set.
Yeah. And whenever he's ready to get this started, we'll be going into the match. We apologize for the delay.
Yeah.
Again, as a reminder, there will be no GSL Code S tomorrow.
Yeah, or the day after. It's IEM Toronto coming up this weekend. Going to be fantastic, as well as the Hong Kong Second Esports event that Tasteless and I will be at. So plenty of StarCraft for you anyways.
We'll be hopping on a plane to Hong Kong tomorrow night.
That's right.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Your second time in Hong Kong.
That's right.
Second time?
Yeah. I only go to Hong Kong with you to cast esports.
Fifth time in Hong Kong or fourth time, something like that. But I love Hong Kong. I'm excited to go down there.
Yeah.
Amazing city.
Yeah, and you know, IM Toronto coming up as well. So there's a lot to watch. You're gonna have plenty.
A lot on the line, by the way, in IM Toronto.
Yeah, even a lot on the line.
WCS getting close to the end here.
Yeah.
These points seem to be fought over.
Hong Kong has a big prize pool as well. And it's pretty cool. Grubby's still in. It's down to the top 4, and Grubby's in, man. I can't wait for that.
Pretty cool.
It's going to be fantastic.
Let me see here. Is his ZL hooked up? It looks like we're closing the booth now.
Can you see the USB ports from here?
Yeah, I see him plugging the USB ports
so
in.
my mouse doesn't work. Oh, you didn't plug it in.
I'm checking his mouse settings now.
Yeah.
But I think we're almost ready to get this going. It's same format as round of 32. So, you know, you win this, you go to the winners part of the group. You lose this, you go to the losers part of the group. And now our other player, Sulky, is having a problem.
Wow.
So we might be going to the second best of 3 first.
Wow.
The TVT.
Well, this is just going to throw me off, Tasteless.
But, okay, so we're getting all these updates here. So Cure is also taking a restroom break. So when he gets back, we'll get this started. So
yeah, hopefully.
Just sit tight.
That's going to mess up my rhythm. I was ready for PVZ right now. I was really thinking about it.
Yeah,
and,
same.
Now I got to switch my mindset into TVT. Huh.
TVT, a matchup. I think it's historically been one of the best matchups in StarCraft.
I agree with that. I think that TVT has always been fantastic.
I think it's the best mirror matchup.
Yeah, I do like it in StarCraft II quite a bit. I think a lot of people agree it's very good. Yeah, I think in StarCraft I it was just a thing of pure beauty. It was so strategic.
It was a really dynamic matchup, and it stayed very dynamic in StarCraft II.
Yeah.
There were a lot of different tech
routes.
There was
more openers for Terran in StarCraft I
in
TVT than any other matchup, and that's actually, I think that's I guess it's not 100% true, but there's a lot of openers in StarCraft II for TVT. Yeah. Actually, that's true with PvP as well. A lot of openers you can do.
I'd say PvP has the most openers.
I think so. You can actually do almost anything.
TVT right behind that. TVT and Brood War had probably the most openers. Though I guess there's in PvT, Protoss had a lot of openers they could do against Terran. But,
yeah, they did have a lot of various cheeses, but for legitimate macro game build orders, for sure TVT had the most.
Yeah,
by far.
And what's crazy about
it was 7 builds.
So many different builds in TVT. What was interesting about it was all early game builds could beat other early game builds.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a real concrete.
Yeah, and I think that there's not a completely concrete in StarCraft II either. It's there's a lot you can do, and depending on the map, that's going to dictate a little bit how you change it up. Like, do you want Reaper on this map or multiple Reapers on this map? Are you going to go for the quick Banshees? One thing I really don't expect to see here is any Marine King-esque type of TVT plays. Like he would just make a command center and go for a bunch of Marines and stuff. I don't expect it to look quite like that. I think we're going to see pretty tech-heavy openers.
And it looks like that TVT is almost ready to begin. In fact, it is ready to begin.
Sick.
So if you are just now tuning in, this is in fact our first best of 3 here. Even though it was initially going to be our second, since Zess is having some problems with his computer. Our first player is Reality.
Alrighty. Reality, when Keswa players first switched over, I remember the week when they really started in the Pro League that was both StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. I was watching, I was I think I made a tweet where I'm like, Reality is so good. He was my favorite Terran when they switched over by far. I was like, oh my god, this guy is insanely good. And I'm glad he's really showing it right now by getting here into the round of 16.
Here's Cure. We don't know if he currently is, but he's been ranked #1 GM in Korea.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Sandy doesn't really care for TVT right now, though.
Well, TVT has changed, I would think, a little bit here.
Sure.
With some patching. And TVT has also been something that we haven't seen much on the screens of Korean esports.
That's true. We don't see it that often.
Not broadcasted very much. The forgotten matchup here. Additionally, the matchup that was the most common in Wings of Liberty has become an endangered species. We're going to see how it's looking now on the map Nimbus here with Reality against Cure.
Nimbus. So this is our one map that you can actually spawn in the 4 different locations versus each other. Could be cross spots, vertical or horizontal. So that can change a lot. There's an easy expansion point behind you. Will anyone go for a command center first type of play here?
You can, but there are ways for Terrans to punish that early on.
That's true. You know, Banshee play, Hellion play.
Yeah, I'd say especially Banshees on this map.
Sure, definitely. Flying unit's very good here.
All right, and we apologize for the delay. Game number 1 in our first best of 3 in the beginning of the round of 16, and the final season of the GSL Code S is underway. In the blue,
Samsung Galaxy Can Reality.
Drink it in, tasteless.
In the bottom right, in the red,
GSL Green Wings Cure.
try to accept it before it destroys you.
I'm really excited for this.
I haven't cast a TVT, Korean TVT in so long.
Certainly. It's been a while.
Think about this. People have been watching GSL. I mean, this is... I feel like we're spotting a rare bird here.
Yeah. Well, you know
I'm like, look at the matchup. I'm like, hold on a second. Are those red feathers and blue feathers in a Terran matchup? That must be a TVT, Artosis. One of them rare TVTs.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. You know, the
only
thing
about
is,
a dozen of these a year here.
Terran became endangered, and then our best conservationist in the world, David Kim, put them through a breeding program via patches, and you know what? They're recovering strongly, and they're off the endangered species list.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah. So it's good to see. By the way, we do have a gas first here from Cure. Not too surprised to see that. Of course, a gas build here by Reality. I feel like he's probably just going to go into Factor anyways. Like, he could, I guess, grab a Reaper, but no, it's definitely lined up for a Factory. Right? Oh, wait, he only has 2 on that. Okay.
Cure going for the Reaper here.
Yeah. I got that mixed up for a second. Anyways, Reality is the one grabbing the quick Factory here, sorry. And, you know, again, as I was saying, I'm not too surprised about that. That seems to be the regular metagame right now. We're seeing a decent amount of Reapers and a lot of gas first. You know, these Terrans are so good at picking each other apart with things like Banshees and Hellions.
Well, I mean, it's just such a strong unit, both the Banshee and the Hellion. And them together, I mean, if you get the right angle, get the right few shots off,
sure.
I mean, they're so crippled economically. So we have the command center now being made here for Cure. Cure also getting a reactor now. And he'll be attaching a factory to that very soon here. Reality's factory is just now finishing up.
Yeah, and the Reaper's going to be able to scout it, it looks like. You know, not a lot of places that you can jump up, I guess. It's just like kind of one side. So, not too hard to defend against this Reaper, but it should be able to get its scout on. And as long as he sees that, you know, okay, look at that. You've got, you know, a starport making, you've already got a factory, you can check how many gases there are. That's basically what he needs to know so that he can defend properly. In fact, we already have the engineering bay being made by Cure.
Okay, so Cure's Reaper now backing up.
Yeah, and he actually didn't get up, so that's an issue.
Yeah, he only knows the starting location, not really anything else. The Hellion has started up here for Reality. And we have that +1 attack there coming. Along with this defensive econ player from Cure, which I think is actually great. We'll have to see how much damage Reality can actually deal here. This is not going to be the easiest thing in the world here for Cure to hold.
No, certainly. There's a lot more units, a lot scarier units for Reality. But he is making a bunker here. Thing is, the medevac coming out, he's going to be able to unload. Now, Tech Lab on the way. And, you know, he doesn't know this is coming yet. But when you pop up the ramp with the Reaper and you see 3 Marines, immediately it's going to... You're going to get an idea of what's going on, at least. You're like, oh, 3 Marines right now. Okay, this, for instance, isn't a command center first.
Okay, the Hellions are coming down now. We have more and more Marines being cranked out. Now let's see where the medevac goes and if he could do much damage. The ramp is exposed, right?
Well, yeah, there's a bunker there with only 1 Marine in it. And I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, God, he's unloading everything while microing that Reaper a little bit. This could be rough, Tasteless. This blue army beats this red army for sure.
Yeah, that's a very articulate way to put it, Artosis.
Thank you.
The angling here for the Hellions is really good.
Oh, man.
And, you know, with the medevac here, the Marines up here can just tank. He doesn't want to let those Hellions take too much more damage, though. He's got to be careful about that. Nice pickup.
Oh, Tasteless. That's a lot of damage already, man.
Yeah.
He's already killed off a lot of SCVs, despite a command center first.
Now, notice how he's just ignoring the Marauder here. Since the medevac is out here, he can heal pretty easily against just one Marauder. The two other Marines here from Cure come up, and he can start to drive that out now. Meanwhile, the command center here for Reality has started up.
Well, it's 19 SCVs to 28. So even though he's got that extra command center, I guess the Mule makes up for a lot, but oh my god, he already lost 14 SCVs. It's just a crazy amount of damage done with that little drop, and the harassment isn't done. We're going to have Banshees coming over with Cloak. We have a Widowmine on the way even. He still has that medevac, still has some Marines. A lot of potential for Reality to do more damage, and he's even double expanding behind this.
Yeah, this is a great move here by Reality. There's not a whole lot the Cure can even do. I mean, to leave his base would put him in a serious threat of losing more SCVs. So even though Reality started out a little bit behind in expansions, so far he's caught up by leagues, and he's going to continue to get ahead.
Well, he gets one SCV there with that Banshee, not taking any damage yet, not showing that he has Cloak yet.
Yeah, that's quite important because a player that can confirm that Cloak is there might handle this very differently. Because right now, Kier may just be thinking, okay, all I have to do is get under this. And note, he's being very careful to not get too close to the Banshee either, because the Banshee can just kite over to the ledge.
Yeah.
Over to the cavity there on the map.
No way to kill these Banshees unless Reality screws up as of right now.
Yeah, and so you never want to bank on your opponent making a mistake in order to win a fight. It really does boil down to you want to out-control them.
Well, two Banshees coming in now. Now, we do have a good missile turret spread over on the right-hand side of the base, so this is getting a little bit hard for him to get many kills. But even this lost mining time, the amount of kills he has gotten, like, look at that. Very nicely done.
Oh my god, that's really bad, though.
Wow, yeah, that was
really bad.
He had at least one Hellion. He definitely had a Widowmine in there. Oh, he didn't? Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. The Widowmine is over to the left of the Mule.
Nicely done there by Kier, not even using a scan to get rid of that, just using the additional vision there from the turret.
Yeah, quite well done. Right now, their economy is pretty even. Still, we have Kier down in SCVs. And, of course, that's going to continue as he continues to lose some SCVs. And that third command center did finish up for Reality.
This Banshee, though, still doing a lot of damage. No way for these patches to saturate here. Nicely done again. He backs out, just out of range there. And another Banshee over here in the northern area. I should say north, actually, of that expansion there for Kier. Comes over, and we'll see how much more damage he can do. Meanwhile, Kier does a pickup, darting through here and headed right towards Reality. Now, Reality might have sufficient defenses here. It'll depend on when and where Kier decides to unload the medevacs.
Yeah.
Now, note that the expansion for Reality over there, his third base, is not particularly well defended, but that doesn't mean he couldn't pick up and get that out in time.
Certainly.
Depending, though. I mean, it does depend on how he reacts.
You know, he does have 3 siege tanks, which definitely can help out, but oh man, he's going right up here to the natural. Didn't have any idea this was coming. Yeah, this is a pretty big move here by Kier. Look at that, a lot of SCVs going down. In fact, going to go down that ramp, kill off a siege tank. Look at this, more SCVs falling, and it looks like Kier now going to be able to take a bit of an advantage in economy.
Okay, he's backing up now.
Oh man, even going to be able to kill this fresh Mule.
And then he picks right back up. The third base has been lifted. Kier is definitely getting back into this game now, already with a supply lead. He's gunned down plenty of probes, dropping in the right spots, maybe able to gun down this reactor. He does just in time there.
Well, you know what? Look at this. Multi-pronged harassment all over the place. He took a lot of damage early on, but he snuck out with some medevacs.
You know, Artosis, this really goes to show you that siege tanks just are not quite enough. They got to be covered properly. They got to be in the right spots. Having them, even if they can zone out armies like this, won't quite cut it. That siege tank just barely out of range of that clump of Marines and Marauders just off to the far left.
Yeah.
Still doing a lot of damage.
You know,
and also, by the way, the Banshee for Reality actually crashed into those Marines.
Crashed right into them. Yeah, no, he certainly did. You know, I feel like Reality has just been a little bit too greedy in this game. You know, he double expanded, was going siege tanks, made Banshee after Banshee after Banshee, just sending them across, and Kure just flew out between them. There was no additional scouting done by Reality, and he didn't have anything set up defensively. He was just trying to take 3 bases, thinking that Kure would just sit there and take the abuse.
Kure is pretty beastly, man.
That was a very good move that he just pulled off, for sure.
I mean, that was really nicely done. And he's going to do it again over here. Look at this. I mean, even if he just gets his depot, it's still very, very strong. And the way the minerals are set up here, it's a filter, actually. Now, oh, my God, excuse me. I didn't realize he was going to gun down the medevac. That was okay. That was a nice play there by him. But the supplies here still 60 to 97.
Well, he's down 20-plus SCVs at the moment. And we actually have 2-2 on the way, which is pretty scary because...
we have a drop.
Oh, God. Well, this one doesn't do as well.
Wouldn't die. Oh, until I said that. Okay, this is really bad.
I would say so. Mule's trying to do some fighting. That didn't work.
Vikings being landed.
Yeah. Viking actually good defense. But, look, this is like...
This is going to start snowballing pretty soon.
Yeah, I would say it already has.
I mean, how on earth is Reality going to get a 3rd base?
He's never going to get a 3rd base.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. There's such a lead in economy right now, but on top of that, the fact that 2-2 is over halfway done for Kure, they're going for the same unit composition, and Kure is going to be up 2 upgrades. And these upgrades matter more with Marines than probably with anything else because of how quickly they do shoot. So this just, it's crazy. Like, he has just slaughtered Reality because Reality wasn't ready for that double medevac drop. He just, that was it. That was the mistake of Reality this game because he started off with some good damage.
Scan over here to get some clarity on whether or not the 3rd base is up and running. The command center not even in sight. Now, when you're using just Marines against Marine siege tank, what you really want to do is try to catch them when they're not in siege mode, and when they siege up, you pick up with your medevacs, you run away. Now, you can oftentimes drop other places their siege tanks or not, because a massive ball of stimmed Marines does more damage than an unsieged Marine tank army. Even if they stim their Marines, you should mathematically just have more.
That's very true. If you catch them like that, you will beat them.
Win, especially if you get in an angle where you hit the tanks first.
Yeah.
You just win. So first of all, let's keep this in mind when we talk about this basic TBT theory. Let's talk about this and how this impacts the map. They're very far apart, which means Kure has a lot of freedom of mobility here.
Yeah.
It actually means Kure can really move around comfortably, and there's not a lot that Reality can do to try to punish him. I suppose he could try to do drops of his own, but that should be pretty easy to shut down since he has Marines of his own.
Yeah, well, you know, with the supply difference this big,
I think this just ends here.
Probably. The 2 additional upgrades, I mean, it's my job to explain to you, how big that is, but it's hard to explain that. It's gigantic, this additional 2 upgrades.
Now watch this. I mean, the stim Marines just come in here. They tear through everything. The tank on the high ground still gunned down.
It's killing absolutely everything.
He goes for the medevacs. That'd be huge, too, here. Oh, I'm surprised he unsieged there. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. GG.
Well.
Kure, wow. I mean, he looked very strong in that first game.
He certainly did. He took a lot of damage early on. Like, Reality had some nice harassment. That drop into the main base killed 14 SCVs because he was just a little bit too greedy. But, he made 3 or 4 Banshees and just kept sending them and didn't really have an army at home to stop any counter drops.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if there is a point where you should cap the Banshee production and make a Viking before you go into medevac
it's a good
production, too, because he made 4, is this correct, or was it 3?
I believe it was 4, but it could have been 3.
It was hard to tell.
I had a hard time keeping track.
But let's say for argument's sake it was 4. I think making one of those into a Viking to park that so you can't get dropped as easily is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, you might be right on that. I think a Viking definitely would have helped there.
Because the fact that Kure was able to get in there, hit both those bases. Also, Siege Tank's not in position.
Yeah, it was tough because he was like spread into 3 bases already. But it was a little bit greedy. The thing is, it's hard to predict that exactly. He'd have to sit there and ask himself, he's like, I'm doing a lot of damage. How can this go wrong?
The upgrade lead helped out Kure a lot, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was huge.
The point where he actually had more Marines in every engagement. I mean, think about it, guys. You stim with Marines that are upgraded and ahead of their opponents. stuff dies so much quicker.
Oh yeah, so much.
And in a matchup with high attack rates, and you're having more medevacs, I mean, that snowballs so quickly.
Yeah.
I almost feel like snowballing's not even the right word because it happens so fast. It avalanches.
Ceases to exist, the environment.
And black holes.